Hey broskies, friends, Chads, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. Today I have for you guys 10 different fragrances that I think are worth a backup bottle, fragrances that are worth repurchasing in my eyes. And it's for a different reason for each one of these. You know, some of them, the reason is because in the future they could get really difficult to find and the price is probably gonna shoot up. So yeah, you know, get it while the getting's good. And others are just that nice that, you know, you wanna have a backup bottle just in case. Or maybe you're gonna run through yours and scoop up another one. So all of these are gonna be linked in the description below. Let's get started, just jump straight into it with this one. Prada LOM Intense. Prada LOM Intense is one that has been a little bit more difficult to find over the past number of years in the US. Basically got scrubbed from every single website that carried it. You know, Macy's, Sephora, Ulta, gone. Prada's own website, gone. And then at discounters, it pretty much just vanished everywhere. I mean, you couldn't find this stuff. Basically, you could only pick it up at eBay. And here recently, it has popped back up at discounters in the US. It's at FragranceNet as of this video, Joma Shop as of this video. Again, you know, in the future, who knows? These are fragrances that I would buy another bottle of if I hadn't already done that. But what's the price? You know, is it pretty affordable? Because, you know, discount is in the name. Not really. It's going for like 110 to 120 right now. But that makes sense because of what I told you before. It got scrubbed from everywhere. So Prada LOM Intense, a lot of you out there consider this the best of the Prada LOM fragrances. You know, it has that original Prada LOM DNA in here, that kind of powdery iris, that soapiness, that clean, classy aspect that you would expect from a Prada fragrance. But this one is a little bit darker, slightly bolder, more masculine, has a nice leather note that's in there. And it's just a fantastic fragrance. And for somebody like me, who is a sucker for iris-based fragrances, and there's another one in this list because again, I really like that note. And pretty much any way you can use it. Soapy? Yeah, I'll take that. Makeup-y? Sure, why not? Creamy? Yeah, why not? I'll take it all. So Prada LOM Intense, this is a must-own for me. And the fact that you can get it again, even if it's not as affordable as it used to be, was a good reason to scoop up another. I've said this a bunch of times, I'll say it again. I have been through some discontinuations in my day. And I have seen fragrances, I have seen them, that used to be $15 suddenly be worth $300 on eBay. I don't want to have to do the whole song and dance to pick up another bottle of this because frankly, this one is like here, so had to get another while the getting was good. Before we hop to the next fragrance, guys, here are the codes. Use them if you so desire to save yourself some money across all these different websites. And I said this before in one video, but the So Avant-Garde code has changed to like Ashton 10 for 10% off instead of Ashton 20. They've changed everybody's to 10. Let's move to the next fragrance. It is Un Jardin sur la Nil from Hermes. I absolutely love the way that this stuff smells. I think that it is fantastic. It's a unisex scent, so ladies can wear this just as easily as men, but who cares when it smells this good? It's kind of a former hype beast. For a while there, back maybe 10 years ago or so, this one got a lot of love. People talking about it all the time. Doesn't really happen anymore. Now this came out in the mid 2000s, and this is supposed to smell like a garden on the Nile River. The opening here is really attention grabbing. You've got grapefruit in there, mango. You've also got tomato as one of the notes. You've got floral notes in here as well, musk in the base. It smells, again, amazing. A perfect spring and summertime fragrance. The quality is really high. Used to be decently expensive from discounters because it is in Hermes, but the price has dropped a little bit as time has gone on. You can get a 50 ml bottle of this at some stores for under 50 bucks nowadays, which is pretty sweet. And this whole line is almost an afterthought nowadays. And for me, this is the one I'd say that I have the most attachment to, and mine's getting a little bit low, so I think it's time to re-up. After that, Boss Bottled Elixir. This stuff is just fantastic. fantastic. And this is one of those deals where I'm not running low. I mean, I've put a little dent in my bottle, but you know, I'm not in any danger of running out here or anything like that. But I just really love the fragrance. And when it comes to Hugo Boss, they are a house that sometimes when a fragrance goes away, it has a propensity to go away like that. Now, I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen with bottled Elixir, because I think that this is pretty successful, at least as far as Hugo Boss fragrances go, because I mean, they did just come out with the new flanker of a flanker with Triumph. So, you know, I think it's safe. This is just one of those ones that I really, really enjoy. And so it's like, well, you know, when the price is right, scoop up another bottle. Woody, spicy, masculine, not the same as Sauvage Elixir, but kind of in the same overarching family. You know, if you like one, you'll probably like the other. Really, really, really dig this stuff for fall and winter time. And I think that Hugo Boss just absolutely crushed this release. So this one, I'm gonna get one just because I like it. It's pretty much that simple. Let's get a little cologne going. This is the only cologne in the list. Harmony Code Absolute, that's from Fragrance World. That is a clone of Code Absolute from Giorgio Armani. So I am a big fan, or was a big fan, of Code Absolute. My favorite Armani code, so of course, discontinued. Don't get me wrong. I like Code Eau de Toilette. I like Code Parfum. I like Code Eau de Parfum, but I do miss the other flankers a lot. Enter this. This is one of the best clones that I have ever smelled of a discontinued fragrance. It is just as close to bang on as you can get without just buying a bottle of Code Absolute. Absolutely fantastic. Like, Fragrance World crushed this release. Like I said, as close as you're gonna get without going to eBay and paying whatever some scalper is selling their bottle for on there. So this is one of those deals where if you like Code Absolute, just get this. Save yourself a little money, save yourself running through your bottle of Code Absolute and needing to re-up. And I can tell you, if I didn't own as much stuff as I own, I would be wearing this bottle out. When it turns fall, I would just be running through that. I enjoy it so much that it's like one of those deals where I would almost put that in my top 10 fall designer list, but you know, I guess I'll make a clone list so I can put it in there. It's just awesome. Okay, after that, Yves Saint Laurent Y Live. Y Live is a compliment beast. That stuff people love. And in the US, it's basically one of those ones that you have to scoop from a discounter. Sometimes it's sold out and you can't really find it anywhere. And at discounters in the US, again, Joma Shop has it, Fragrance Net has it, Fragrance Buy has it. As of this video, you're looking at around 100 to 115 bucks for this one. Suffice it to say, Y Live is not really the focal point of the Y line. Y Live is kind of like a redheaded stepchild. You know, it's just kind of on the outside looking in. Similar to Y Eau Fraiche. And Y Eau Fraiche for a long time, you couldn't really find in the US. You can start to find it again in discounters, but it's not at the price it used to be. And this would be one of those ones where I just don't want to not be able to wear it, basically. Now, obviously, I'm not in any danger here. Like, I've got half the bottle remaining right there, but kind of like with Midnight in Paris back in the day, like I bought a couple bottles of that when it was discontinued, and some of the other fragrances from back around then that were being discontinued, I bought extra bottles of, but it'd be a similar thing with this one, where if it started to disappear, I would scoop up another bottle like that, just real quick. Kind of a little bit Y meets Invictus, like a twist on the Y DNA. Nice and sweet, very fresh. And like I said, this stuff is just an unheralded compliment monster. People talk about Y Eau de Parfum all the time, and they should, because that stuff works great, but this is right there with it. Let's go Guerlain next. L'Homme Ideal Platine Privé. And this one kind of goes back to Lomy All Cologne. This smells similar, and that one was discontinued, and you couldn't really find it for, I don't know, ever? Basically, it was discontinued, and once the stock ran out at discounters, it was just like, well, that's it. Just, it's gone. Years later, they released this, and it smells similar to cologne. Now, obviously, there's some twists, some changes in there. You've got a nice vetiver note that's in this fragrance, but it's similar enough that you could, you know, smell them side by side and be like, oh, this will do the same job. But I love the opening in here, that citrus mixed with the almond. It is perfectly done. Very, very appealing. The drawback, I guess, is that Lomy All Cologne back in the day was very cheap from discounters. So if you wanted it, it was like 25 bucks. It was an insane deal. From a Guerlain standpoint, that's not really a good thing, that it's like, oh, there's the fragrance for 25 bucks. But for those of us that knew, it was sick. This is much pricier than that used to be. Good old Lomy All Cologne. Some people actually found the opening of Lomy All Cologne and also the opening of this one similar to the opening of Imagination by Louis Vuitton. So it's somewhat in that wheelhouse. So if you like that, you may enjoy this one. And even at full retail, I think this is like $135 at full retail. It's not an awful price compared to what a lot of things are going for nowadays. So this is just one of those ones where I've seen them kill it off before, and if they're gonna kill it off again, you know, get another. All right, next up we got this. That new Le Bro. Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Bro Paradise Garden. It's actually Le Beau, but it just sounds funny. So why this one? I mean, this stuff is like new. You know, just came out this year. Well, first off, I love it. This was my fragrance of the season for spring, and here in summer, it's getting a little use as well. The opening grabs my attention every time I smell the stuff. Fresh, sweet, a little bit tropical, got like fig, coconut vibe going on, just really, really well done. And if you're a fan of Le Beau and Le Beau Le Parfum, you're gonna like this. The issue with this one, and maybe this changes, it could change, of course, but the Le Beau line in the US has not been the easiest thing to get our grubby little hands on. Le Beau Le Parfum in particular. So like if you go to Jean-Paul Gaultier's website, again, as of this video, Le Beau Le Parfum is on there. And it's like, you know, it has a little spot where you could select your size, add to cart, but it's all sold out. And it does say back in stock soon, but when is soon? I don't know. And I'm not gonna like dive into the whole thing, but there have been a lot of people who are anxious that Le Beau Le Parfum is gonna be discontinued or already has been discontinued. It's a whole thing. You can type in, you know, on Google and look that up, and a lot of people talking about it. This is one of those deals where, again, kind of like the Guerlain, you just wanna keep your eyes open, ear to the ground, and if something seems to be going on, you know, go ahead and Next one is just one I like. There's no danger or fear of any kind of like difficult to acquire this or discontinuation or blah, 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 blah. None of that. I just like it. Yeah. Varvado's XX Intense. Got a really cool looking bottle. Really dig the design on here. I could probably do without the little XX charm that they put on these bottles, but you know, it's whatever. Not too expensive, even at full retail. Varvado's typically priced really well. And this one reminds me, man, I like almost dropped the bottle trying to spray the stuff. This one reminds me of Polo Red Extreme, especially off the top. Real similar off the top when you smell it. Polo Red Extreme and also Polo Red Intense, both discontinued, which is unfortunate because I love both of those. I thought they were fantastic. Polo Red Extreme was a little more coffee leaning, and you don't get a ton of that in here, but still the opening is similar to Red Extreme. Red Intense was more cranberry forward. So you had a kind of a cool, like, choose your own adventure type of thing with the Polo Reds. Polo Red Intense was like if you really wanted to amp up that cranberry off the top, that fruity pop, that little tart sweetness that it had going on. Polo Red Extreme was if you wanted something a little bit darker, something a little bit sexier in a way. So this one, like I said, just kind of scratches that Polo Red Extreme itch for me a little bit, but just in its own right, it's a really nice wearable fragrance, nice compliment factor, good quality. Like I said, bottle looks great and it doesn't cost that much. So it's just one I really enjoy. It's not gonna be like a fragrance release from this year that I think too many people go crazy for. You know, it's not gonna be one of those things where it's just like, everybody's gotta have it. But for the people that enjoy that, it's gonna be a great little sleeper. Iris again, Gentleman Reserve. Privé. So this is a boozy, creamy, sweet kind of iris. It's not soapy like the Prada over here. This one is also elegant, sexy, it's mature, but doesn't come across dated. Just a really, really, really great release. And this is one where, again, I don't think it's like any danger of going away anytime soon or anything like that. But this is one of those ones where I would just kind of want to have it just in case. The only reason I feature this is there have been some times in the past with brands that had fragrance lines that were iris forward, and they started to move away from that, move toward a different direction. And then slowly, as time went on, they kind of whittled down the fragrances that came before. I don't think this is at any kind of risk right this minute or anything like that, but I would just keep an eye on what Givenchy does. If they start moving away from iris in a big way, which they're not really doing that at the moment. I think it's fine, again, for like the 5th time, but I would be putting up my antenna. All right, last up, Tommy Hilfiger Impact Intense. This is a great little release from Tommy Hilfiger. Can't always find it for a super cheap price. Sometimes it'll pop up at discounters for a decent price, but a lot of times it's more like 50, 60, something like that. If you get the 100 mil, comes with a little gimmick, comes with a built-in baby atomizer in the cap. If you get the 50 mil like I have, it's not there, but the 100 mil, this has like a little tiny travel atomizer inside of it. So if you really want to refresh throughout the day, you can take your cap off and put it in your pocket, and then throughout the day, just pull out the cap and open it and oh, Tommy Hilfiger, what will you think of next? Genius. Fragrance itself, really nice. Like I said, woody, spicy. A little fruit in there off the top gives you a nice pop of sweetness. Wonderful fragrance for spring, fall, and winter, daytime or evening, either one. Vague similarities to Parfum de Marly Layton. Not real super close. If you spray them on side by side, you're never gonna confuse the two or anything like that. But it's like I said with some of these other ones, you know, it's in the wheelhouse. You know, if you like one, probably like the other, that kind of deal. Just a really well done fragrance. And because this stuff is way under the radar, this is one of those fragrances where I feel like it could be discontinued one day. Most people probably wouldn't even realize until well after the fact when they were like, oh yeah, I need to get another bottle of that. Let me go look. Oh, it's gone. It's nowhere. It'd be that kind of deal, because I've seen that happen too with fragrances where you have something that's not, you know, a big smash or really super popular with the community or anything like that, and it will be discontinued and people won't find out until they start to look it up and they go, what? This used to be 50 bucks. Why is it 200? All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Let me know in the comments below some of the stuff that you have scooped up backup bottles of and why. Stay safe out there, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.